I look at it this way. If I didn't have the underlying support of the community and the people who have backed me up, and you've got no idea the things that people do for me, I wouldn't probably have had an OAM. It's a community effort, and I always try to impress that on people. It's not just my OAM, it's everybody's. We're all inclusive. We've all achieved it. It's been a mutual achievement. And I've been here since the early 1960s. We actually were politically compliant in the early days, the 1960s, where you went west and to develop the land. It was the growth paradigm in the context of farming, forestry, and trying to make a living. We came down a rough limestone road from Portland, and it was all the bush around us. It was the coast there with the roaring, seas coming in, the river here. It was just, would you say, a little bit of Eden, if you like, and it suited us to perfection. We made the application for 319 acres, and we were actually lucky enough. We were the first ones to apply for it anyway, and we succeeded in that application, and it was called the Crown Land Purchase Lease Grant. My husband, Horst, he was then, became Harry when we became naturalised in 63, and we moved down here permanently December 65. We developed the land, we pushed over all those trees, but I've always been interested in nature, right from the very word go from when I was a kid. I did take actually a list of all the plants that were on the block before we raised the lot to the ground, and put in all the pastures and fenced it and completed all the requirements for this grant. I had a younger son, and then I had two more children in 67 and 69, and one of the first things I did was actually start up a mothers club at the school. And then I actually took over as secretary for the reformed Cemetery Trust. I also was one of the original members for the Tourist Association that's down here. The best achievement, of course, is the Nelson Coast Care, because that was the one that was going to cause or help or create or at least get things moving to get people aware of the ecology of this area. Ecological literacy is absolutely important. If we are going to maintain a world in which we are going to be able to sustain a quality of life, then we need to have an understanding of the ecology. And that only just doesn't mean interactions with the soil and the microbes and plants and so on, but it's also the impacts of human activities. Every biological character that you can preserve actually has a repercussion where it will preserve others. So we try to achieve as much protection of what we have now as much as we can. We've got people who didn't have that knowledge beforehand, now are armed with that knowledge, and we are like a very interactive and supporting community. It is actually involving people, and they've got a sense of belonging, a sense of achievement, a sense of pride. And I've seen this in some of our members. The OAM is a confirmation of the veracity of the work that the Nelson Coast Care has achieved over the last few years. It's an endorsement of what we have achieved and what we are continuing to achieve. And hopefully it will progress into the future where we'll be able to draw more people into having a better understanding of the environment that they live in. There's still a long way to go. One of the confounding factors is always the funding. You can get some funding, but the maintenance funding is what needs to be brought into focus more. If you want to have more impact with a government agency and writing submissions, and I do a lot of those, I can use that OAM, and hopefully that'll give it more impetus, more wallop, if you like, to the fact that I have been acknowledged for the work I've done through my Nelson Coast Care and all their efforts. They better sit up and take notice. A bit better anyway, hopefully. This caste system is so unique, and the actual habitats and the flora and fauna that we have here, we've got a huge amount still of biological factors that we need to keep preserved.